At next week's school board meeting, I plan to discuss two significant topics. The first being the return of 5th and 6th graders at 100%, and the second being the extension of a virtual-only option through the second semester. Our experience thus far with grades pre-K through 4 has been positive. Social distancing has been difficult, but our students have done a commendable job of complying with the requirement of facial coverings, frequently washing their hands, and wiping down surfaces when asked to do so. As we consider returning those grade levels at 100% in person, we reviewed our ability to cohort students for purposes of contact tracing. Now that we've spent some time with them, we're more comfortable with our decision from that perspective. We are also comfortable now at the prospect of expanding the 100% in person to grades 5 and 6 because we have similar safety protocols in place and see cohorting as a feasible strategy to facilitate contact tracing if that should become necessary. So when will this return date take place? Monday, November 2nd provides a 1-week period following fall break, not only to monitor positive COVID cases, but also for our staff to transition their instructional strategies and re-emphasize with their students all the safety protocols necessary for a 100% attendance. My recommendation for the board consideration will be for the return at 100% grade levels 5 and 6 on Monday, November 2nd. As for the decision to continue a virtual-only option, I'll be recommending for board consideration the extension of that option through the second semester. In the last month, approximately 400 elementary students have opted to return to in-person instruction after initially choosing virtual only. Though that's been a clerical challenge, we welcome those students back to the classrooms where they're with their grade level peers and their teachers. So what about grades 7 through 12, you may be asking? We would like to see them return at 100% as soon as safely possible. Cohorting remains a concern. However, I am optimistic at the compliance we've observed at those grade levels in wearing face coverings, maintaining hand washing, and their social distancing. Given the number of students and the design of the buildings, social distancing will be a challenge when the buildings are once again open at 100%. Nevertheless, we are considering a 100% return when conditions within the schools and within the community indicate it is safe to do so. We have received some disturbing reports about the stress that students are experiencing as a result of time spent in virtual instruction. The well-being of all our students is at the center of our decisions, and when those decisions have adverse effects, we have put in place measures to address those. If there are students in this district who are experiencing harmful stress, there are school-sponsored professional supports to assist them and their families. Please contact our administrators or counselors if you're aware of a student who needs assistance from a mental health therapist. Our teachers continue to refine their work in virtual instruction, and I'm proud of the progress they've made in such little time to expand their outreach to students beyond the classroom. In some of our classrooms, virtual students are engaged right along with the in-person students, and in other classrooms, teachers have set aside time to spend exclusively with their virtual students. In all cases, this requires a skill set that our teachers did not have to exercise in past years, and as any skill requires time and constant exercise for improvement or refinement, virtual instruction is no different. I'm often questioned why there is not a consistent model being used for virtual instruction. Our teachers are meeting the unique needs of their classrooms in ways that often appear to be different from classroom to classroom, and that is consistent with past practice. No two teachers exercise their instructional skills in exactly the same way, and there's nothing new to that. What we strive for is consistency in instructional quality, and our teachers develop their lessons with that in mind. I thank them all for their work to constantly improve. It's a challenge when you're developing an entirely new skill set. I encourage all of you parents to take the time to thank a teacher for their efforts this school year. Finally, I'm pleased to report that we are resuming our work on the development of a portrait of a graduate. This work was sidelined in the spring when the COVID crisis assumed priority in all of our planning efforts. Portrait of a Graduate is a visible and public statement of the knowledge, skills, and dispositions that we at HSE want to see in all of our graduates. It gives direction for those who plan and implement curriculum and instruction at all levels, from pre-K on. And it gives purpose to our HSE 21 model of best practices. I will be discussing this project at our school board meeting next week as well. I've covered a great deal of information today. Thank you for listening and for your time. Have a great weekend.